this is the quantum of impact that can come. I will not go through this basic concepts, this becomes more technical in nature, but we need to understand that today when we are paying excise, it is on manufacturing of the goods. VAT is paid on sales of goods. Service tax is paid on providing of services. So under GST regime, there will be only two things: supply of goods and supply of services. So similar to service tax that we have, the provisions under the service tax law, the supply of services would be similarly taxed under the GST regime. But as far as the goods are concerned, instead of manufacture and sale, see, for every company, as soon as the goods are manufactured, they have to pay the excise. And VAT they pay when they sell the goods. But now, GST they will pay only when they supply the goods to their customer. That is equivalent to almost sale of goods, that when the goods are actually sold by the... So it will not be paid at the first point. Production करके रखा तो मेरा excise चला जाता है. मैंने stock रख दिया production में तो, right? So that excise gets paid away. But now that excise money will not get blocked to that extent. The tax will be payable only when I am going to sell that product, right? So the services, the concept of services, the concept of goods, supply of goods and services. Aggregate turnover is one more concept, that it means the aggregate value of all taxable supplies and exempt supplies and exports. That is how the aggregate turnover of a person will have to be computed, not just the taxable turnover. And that will be required where it will become necessary. That will become necessary that, okay, whether the company is falling under the audit limit or not, whether registration would become applicable on what turnover. Say a company wants to take new registration, then how, under what is the turnover that the company will have to count to take a registration in, say, other state, correct? And this aggregate turnover is to be calculated on all India basis. It is the aggregate turnover of a person having the same PAN. So on one PAN number, the turnover of that person will be tracked, right? So what would happen? Say there is a person today, because we know, see, what are the basic limits for registration under the VAT laws? Anybody? Alpesh? Basic limit for registration under VAT? 10 lakh rupees, right? Service tax? 10 lakhs. Okay, if I am crossing the threshold limit of 10 lakhs. Now, service tax is one 10 lakh limit applicable all across India. Right? For VAT it is 10 lakhs for Maharashtra, 10 lakhs for Gujarat, 10 lakhs for Assam, 10 lakhs for Punjab. Everywhere the 10 lakhs limit is applicable. So there are various companies, अभी आज जाके गुजरात पे थोड़ा काम करना है तो काम करके यार नंबर लेने का जरूरत नहीं है. Right? So now we take a case of a person, say 60 lakhs ka turnover Maharashtra ka, he is having a turnover of 60 lakhs rupees. He is a small dealer, he has a turnover of 60 lakhs rupees in Maharashtra. He wants to go to Gujarat and sell some products. He wants to go for an exhibition in Gujarat. So there is an exhibition where he wants to display his products. So will he be required to get registered? Yes, because his turnover has crossed the basic threshold limit of 20 lakhs. That 20 lakhs is to be computed on all India basis. Right? Even for computing that limit for composition also, this turnover definition is going to be important. So once the person is crossing a basic turnover limit in one state, then he becomes liable for registration as soon as he goes to the other state to do some products. So their registration will be required for that person. Although there are separate rules for a casual taxable person, we'll come to that stage later. So this is what are goods and services under GST, Goods and Service Tax Act, right? Goods and Service Tax. So we need to understand what are goods, what are services. They have been defined under the law. Goods means any kind of movable property other than money and securities. So money and securities are not goods, but includes actionable claims, growing crops, grass and other things attached. These are all there to, so basically in simplicity terms, every movable item is considered as goods, and services is anything other than goods, right? So that you have to see whether I am supplying goods or whether I am supplying services, and the provisions of applicable under GST as applicable to goods and services. Because again, although the GST is one act, but there will be various provisions, because services are different kind of a business activity. Selling of goods is a different kind of a business activity. So the law as applicable to services and goods would keep on changing under the GST regime. So we have to keep that in mind, right? Works contract transaction, wherein goods and services are combined. There are works contracts. Say there is a contractor who is say painting this wall, right? So wherever while painting the wall, he has some material, the paint is applied, and plus his labor charges are there. So there is material as well as labor. So that is a works contract. Today both VAT and service tax are being separately charged. There is reverse charge mechanism, and all sorts of litigations are there under the works contract regime. In AMCs, in construction contracts, in such types of contracts. Now what they are trying to do over here is, under GST, they are going to treat the works contract to be treated as supply of services. So even if material is involved in a works contract transaction, such contracts will be treated as supply of services, and that is going to be a major paradigm shift that we are going to see under the service tax law, right? Even the lease transactions, right to use, Alpesh, Mahindra, right to use, if you are giving your product on lease, today we are having issues whether it will be chargeable to VAT or it will be chargeable to service tax. Here under the GST regime, under schedule 3, they have mentioned that such supply, such leasing of goods will be treated as supply of services. So all right to use transactions will be treated as supply of services. There is one controversy regarding intangibles. Now what are intangibles? Patents, trademarks, copyrights, designs, software packages, franchise agreements. We cannot, they are not goods per se. Software, we cannot see the software. But today what is happening? किसी ने software purchase किया recently? VAT is charged. Service tax is also charged. They are charging. We have seen many companies, they are charging VAT as well as service tax on the softwares. Now, in the previous draft law which had come, luckily they had excluded intangibles from the definition of goods and taken it into the category of services so as to remove the litigation. But in the revised draft law, again I am seeing that both these exclusions, this exclusion of intangibles has now been removed. So that controversy may possibly still continue, or maybe I don't know what they are planning. They may come out with some notification in this regards. So the proposal which had come in the first draft law, that is not continuing in the subsequent, that whether the intangibles will be goods or services. So let's hope that some good sense prevail, which was already there in the earlier law, if they are treated as services. So the litigation to that extent would get reduced.